The most visible ones are the ones that are on the street panhandling are the most visible ones. And really, just let me just tell you what I think is wrong with this whole thing. I think the problem is, at least here in Asheville and probably other places too, is that there are so many crackheads in Asheville that a decent bum can't make a living. And
there are too many crackheads in Asheville.
And I tell that to the people who try to panhandle me, which can be very annoying, and they can be very offensive and aggressive in their panhandling and stuff like that. However, being poor can get on your nerves. However, a lot of these people may have mental conditions that make them aggressive, or they just might be crackheads, And the fact is, we've got so many crackheads out there, and these are our high visibility people, and they're giving everybody else a bad name.
Yeah,
you see what I mean? And be careful, and don't let these people, give you the opinion that this is all homeless people. There's a lot of I think the numbers are that we were told are really much lower than the truth of it.
Yeah, I think Moss said 685 or something like that, 680 something.
Yeah, I read recently around 700.
But the thing of it is I just can't help believe that only 5, maybe 10% of them are in situations like you're in. But if they are, you've pulled yourself up fine. You do. I mean, you're not out there panhandling. You're not pestering people.
No, but if it weren't for Casey Waters right now, I'd be on the street.
I understand that though. But the thing of it is that generosity is coming back to you because of the person you are, and you're willing to work, and you're willing to help people. These people out here, I'm a big believer in what goes around comes around. You can call it karma or whatever, but some of these people out here just aren't willing to do that, and I think what goes around comes back around to them, and they just don't want to pull themselves back out of this.
Certain people are in the position they're in as the consequences of their life that they've lived.
This is often true.
And we cannot escape consequences in life.
Exactly.
Life has consequences. If you choose a certain path, chances are, you're going to pay some consequences.
But you're not doomed, though. You can pull yourself out of any situation. I believe that.
I believe that
I believe with a little bit of willpower, you can pull yourself out of any situation.
That's why I don't think you should do things for people that they should be doing for themselves.
Well, going along that line,
and are able to do for themselves.
I will help somebody once or twice, but if I see them misusing my ability to help,
misusing your goodness of heart,
I won't do it anymore.
Right.
But if I truly feel like that what I'm doing is actually helping them and they're not abusing it and that they're trying, I'll continue to help them.
I believe that, Randy, because I sense that you have done those things for people and found that.
And I don't mean to.
Unfortunately, there are people who will take advantage of kind-hearted people.
And I don't mean to seem like I'm cold-hearted about homeless people. I'm not. It's just my opinion of what it is, and I don't think, even though I will continue to help people, I don't think we owe them a living.
I don't either.
I've never taken pity on a crackhead in my life.
I mean, we all work. Why can't they? That's my only question.
And what's the matter with work? It makes you feel good about yourself.
And I know they're in a catch-22. They got to have an address to get the job, and they got to have a job to get an address, and this and that. But these homeless shelters,
there are institutions.
They will give them an
address.
These homeless institutions will give them an address.
Here's what I'm trying to say, though. You're talking about helping the homeless, and they won't help themselves and stuff like that. And I'm still trying to get back to we have these crackheads, okay, and.
Yeah, but John,
what I have learned, what I have observed, or I'll even say my opinion, whatever, is that helping a crackhead does not help a crackhead.
No, it doesn't.
You see what I mean?
And that further a crackhead.
And that's what I'm talking about. And that's why on the Tea Party, that's why we have a phrase here. We have a saying. Don't smoke crack. How many do you remember?
Don't smoke.
That's one of our basic premises.
We should say it again. Everybody,
don't smoke crack.
Don't smoke crack. And really, I believe that what we're discussing here.
Is that the same tea?
No.
No.
Oh no. This is what you like.
I think we're getting a caller.
Don't smoke crack.
No.
Don't smoke crack, caller. Don't smoke crack.
Let me just say something real quick. In that I have seen people that you would think should not downward spiral.
Now that's not the one that you like,
smoke
but it's not
crack,
bad.
and-
This is
I mean,
you
it's
poured
people
this out
up.
You poured it out of this first.
I mean, I personally,
I
I
don't think
think
so.
pot should be legal,
No, you poured it out
and
this
I've got
one.
nothing
Well,
against
it was a
people
mistake.
responsibly experimenting
didn't mean
with
to.
hallucinogens.
Well, that's not a
but
bad
crack
tea.
is
Okay, if
bad
you like
stuff.
it, use it. But that's this.
That's this. That's a good
Awful.
tea.
So
Well, it's
is
not the number one
meth.
in England.
Yes.
I suppose meth is.
Oh, you're finishing that
Okay,
one off.
nobody
Yeah.
do meth either. Don't do meth either at home. It's also bad stuff.
Ice.
Don't do any drug.
All,
Yeah.
all of those.
That includes alcohol. Don't do any drug.
And alcohol is a dangerous drug. And you know what? I every now and then I like to explain to people about good drugs and bad drugs because we live in a society where people don't explain
Yeah,
good
we're not
drugs.
straight up about
and
this stuff.
We're not. We're about good drugs and bad drugs, and people, and I might say, Dr. Mungpower might be among the first to tell me, well, there's no good drugs,
Actually, I brought this up. I think you missed this part, but I brought it up when I was doing the interview with him, saying that I don't think there's an honest dialogue about drugs in our country.
there are good drugs, and those good drugs are
Aspirin.
high on life.
Okay. Anyway, what I was going to say is that my generation came along and delved deeply into drug experimentation, and this is true. And a lot of what my generation discovered, maybe we didn't share with following generations. But what we discovered was the good drugs, bad drugs idea.
It was not properly shared with succeeding
and
generations.
what we
let me
need,
just say.
and so that's why I need to take time and share it, and particularly so that you can identify bad drugs. And bad drugs are, and I'm gonna assume that any drug gets you high, makes you feel good, that anybody may like any drug, but you need to not be doing bad drugs. And how do you identify bad drugs? Okay, bad drugs have bad consequences. Bad drugs are addictive. If a drug is addictive, you put it in the bad drug. If a drug can stop your heart, stop your breathing, if it can kill you, that is a bad drug. Don't do that drug. If a drug causes unacceptable behavior, if it causes you to become a thief or a murderer or something like that, this is a bad drug. Okay.
And now I think we have to paraphrase that by saying that alcohol is a bad drug for a lot of
Alcohol
people.
falls into and you know why? I'll tell you why. Because the
rednecks around here can't handle it.
The first thing it does is in excess. The first thing it does is cause unacceptable behavior, followed by often death.
Downward spiral.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
A long downward spiral.
And
that's
one of the
painful.
main differences between alcohol and crack cocaine is fast.
Yeah.
It's a fast downward spiral
Right.
as opposed to alcoholism,
But-
which is a slow downward spiral.
But both are in the bad drugs category. Heroin falls in the bad drugs. So it's easy. Ask yourself these questions, and if anything that you're interested in doing falls into, do a little research before you partake of drugs. And if you find that these drugs are known to cause death, don't do them. If you find that they are an addictive substance, don't do it.
So specifically name some bad drugs for us.
I did. I named heroin. I named cocaine. I named alcohol. Those are high on the list.
Crack,
Those are
meth.
crack
Meth.
Give me
cocaine.
some good drugs.
All right, tell us some good drugs.
Good drugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
tell us some good
Or marijuana is a good drug. You know what the main thing wrong with marijuana is? It's against the law. That problem is not with the drug. Do you know what unacceptable behavior it causes? You get the munchies while watching the TV late at night. Hey, that's not hurting anybody, okay?
And now I want to paraphrase this just by saying I've smoked a lot of pot in my time.
Oh,
and
true confessions.
And like
And it makes
even when in my 20s,
There's an example right there.
Okay.
You'll turn out like that. You want to
Even in my 20s,
That's not bad.
you want to
Okay.
be like that.
He's not a bad guy.
Okay.
He's very
Do you find his behavior unacceptable?
No.
Go
I
ahead.
want a soapbox. Here for a minute.
It's yours. Go.
Okay. Now, even in my 20s, when I smoked pot every day, and there was a period of time when I smoked pot every day, I managed to be a functional drug addict in that I would never go to work high because I wouldn't enjoy the experience personally, and people that I know that do, I don't get. I think that's nuts for a variety of reasons, but I would never go to work high. But oftentimes, like, unless I really had to pee, the first thing I would do when I get home is take a bong hit.
Right on.
And probably spend the rest of the day high. And, you know, looking back upon
It'd
it,
be mellow as hell.
yeah, and looking back upon it, it's possible to spend too much time smoking pot and you don't get other things done. So, I mean, even the quote-unquote good drug, bad drug sort of thing, if you're doing something all the time or if you're doing something every day, seriously, a person should probably think about it and be willing to step back for a little bit.
They're addicted.
Because I mean, if you're not willing to go without something for a little while, there's something wrong. So,
Even though people say pot's not addictive.
it can be psychologically
It can be.
addicting.
Yeah,
I
sure
mean,
can.
I've been there.
Okay,
I've seen
yeah, but what? Okay, if marijuana is addictive, what are the symptoms of withdrawal? Are there
Probably
physical?
no more than
There
the
are no-
cigarette.
There's no physical
I've seen
symptoms
Probably no
of
more than
withdrawal.
cigarette withdrawal.
Please come in.
Not even less.
No, oh, much
Less.
Far
less.
less. Oh yeah,
Oh,
because
cigarettes are so much.
cigarettes are physically
little
addicting. You take the
overcooked.
cigarettes away, and it does something to your body. You take the pot away, it's not a body thing, it's a mind thing. You take the pot away, a person could get kind of cranky because they're not having that like little warmth that they're
Wow,
used
this
to.
smell good.
Nice.
Gingerbread.
But I mean, that's it.
Wow.
Okay, now describe what you have for us here. Wait a minute, we have.
Gingerbread cookies with whipped cream, but they're a
Now, do you
little
recommend the
overdone.
whipped cream? Oh, it's
Yes.
whipped cream.
Yeah, I mean,
And
but
on
I
some
had a
kind of-
little
you-
sauce mishap on a white carpet as I was leaving, so that detained me.
It's funny you bring in warm cookies. You bring in warm cookies as we're discussing addictions.
Yeah.
Happiness is a warm cookie.
Whipped cream, anyone?
A freshly made homemade warm
Yeah,
cookie.
they dumped the sugar. They would have.
Is that really
They're
whipped cream?
overcooked a little,
No,
but
it's-
I
It's
tried.
homemade whipped cream, it looks
That's
like.
Some kind of cream.
Yeah,
Let's
it
see
looks
what
like she just whipped
Just a
it up.
little
My son
bit.
just dropped a whole plate of meatballs and sauce on white rug.
Oh,
I was on there and I go, oh, hey, Mars retrograding Cancer family.
All right.
Want a
Well,
cookie?
pass the cream.
All this
Okay.
must mean that we're going to be seeing the Glow Ladies show directly after this show. Is that right?
No, wrong day.
No,
Nope, that's tomorrow.
tomorrow.
but
That's
you both
tomorrow.
came in anyway on the wrong
She
day.
has
Yeah.
class.
Oh,
I have class with you.
Yeah. Did you bake these?
Yes, but
Is that why
can you
they're so
tell?
warm?
They're strong.
They were warmer.
They're warm, but it's like, oh, and what's that, cream cheese?
Whipped cream.
cream.
Oh, you're
Homemade.
so good.
Homemade.
I'm so,
Oh, she is. She is.
no,
She
because
is
they're
so
overcooked, they're
good.
over sugared and sauces on my carpet. But I tried. That's all that matters, right? Anyhow.
We throw a pretty decent tea party, don't we?
yes, you do.
Well, can
It's
we?
amazing how fast cookies
Are we-
derailed the conversation about
Yeah.
drugs.
What about addictions? No addictions.
There's a major hush
I
comes
have
over the
sugar
crowd.
addiction.
My
And I'm-
first
and I'm-
one. Yeah.
I think it's slash whipped cream addiction.
Yeah, I'm having a sugar and a
Maybe
whipped
we
cream
can talk. Maybe we
high
can talk
here.
about what you can do with whipped cream. Better watch how you eat that whipped cream.
Oh.
They were talking
That's
about
after
addictions.
two.
They were talking about addictions.
Well, I was
Yeah, but
going to
we're
mention
gonna
one
talk about
thing that
addictions.
comes to
What was
my
that?
mind
Yeah.
about the homeless and holding up the signs, you know, for food. It was an experience my sister and I had a few years ago. There was a man that he sat in the edge of the parking lot at Kmart's on Patton Avenue, and he also had a dog with him. And he held up the sign, you know, need food.
I got it all, man. Sorry.
And we're
That's just
both
good, though.
very much animal lovers and everything.
Right.
So
You bought him some dog food.
well, no, actually, we did that, but we also went to one of the fast food places, bought him some food, and took it back and dropped it off to him.
Yeah.
And looking back in the rearview mirror, we saw him throw the food over in the hedges
That you gave him.
that we gave him to eat. Yes.
He didn't even feed it to the dog.
No, he threw it over. Like I said, he just threw the bag over in the hedges.
So you think he was looking for money, not
he was
food?
looking for money, not food.
Right. Well, that's what.
So
you, that's what,
we never took him.
And I've
food
heard a
again.
lot of I hear too many stories like
Well, that's what they see. Yeah, because like I was telling you, like one person who told me, frankly, you know, I mean, we were having a friendly conversation, and I asked him about about his occupation of holding sign, and he said at the right spot and on a really good day, I can make up to $300 in an hour.
Yeah.
I've had,
No way.
Holding
I've
sign.
had people tell
Holding
me
sign.
that they've made as much as $500.
So now if that, well, maybe he wasn't as good at it, but so if they can make that kind of money, think how many people are giving them food. They couldn't eat all that food.
No.
You couldn't eat, like $100 worth of food an hour. You couldn't eat it. You'd have to
Yeah.
throw it in the bushes. I mean,
Yeah.
So give them a break.
So do they have money? Obviously, if they get making that much money,
Oh,
or
yeah.
are they boozing, or they're the addicted?
Well,
Yeah.
Or using.
I'm going to,
Well, many of them may be sharing it with other homeless people. They may get a hotel room and stuff it with other homeless people.
Could that be a reason sometimes why homeless people, we just find them dead, that have been bashed in the head, and they don't know if
Absolutely.
they've been robbed or not, but this could be somebody that made $500 that day. and
Hom-
somebody-
homeless people are not always broke. As a matter of fact, it's
sure.
it's a well-known thing that often, like the bag lady in New York City and stuff like that, and they find that she's carrying $10,000 in cash on her, in her shoes and things like
Yeah.
that. Really, and people will kill these people and take that money, and that's true. And often, almost every time that I hear about a homeless person that's killed and back out of sight somewhere and stuff, and that happens more commonly than we would like to think about here in this town, and they rarely report such a thing.
No, they're
So-
reporting every homeless, because I read the paper every day, and
Every
there's
homicide?
been like every homeless death, yes.
Oh, every homeless death.
Mhm.
When
Yeah,
did
they
that-
investigate them. They found one right down here on the corner of Charlotte Street and
Violent?
240 about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, and
And they didn't know the source of. they
Hey
didn't know
there.
that one.
Come on in, you can have my seat.
Yeah, I was just coming up to respond to you now, Andy.
oh, you're gonna
Hey, how you
respond? Oh, come in and
Gotta respond.
come
See
in.
a homeless vet begging.
Okay, here you go.
It ain't 'cause he didn't try to work.
Okay.
I had 8 major surgeries, including this arm tacked back on.
Come in here and have
Lung
come in here and
cut
have a
out.
seat. Come in here and have a seat.
Yeah, have a
Somebody's
seat.
out begging.
Here, take
it
my
might
seat.
be that they did try.
It
Here.
might- well, it could
That's
be.
what
Well, yeah, come
Here,
It has to
come
be.
in, come here and sit down and
It's
take my
fine.
seat, okay, and discuss that with Randy. If you would, we've only got a few more minutes.
They might have to cut another piece out in about a month.
Oh, no.
So I don't know if you'd even be here. And we've not met. I'm Jeff Turner.
Hey, I'm Randy.
Glad to meet you.
Have y'all met?
I've never met
I've
him.
seen him on
Okay.
TV a lot with Richard, and appreciate your show too. But not every vet you see begging.
Well, I agree with you there,
He's
and that's
got
why I give that.
$1,000 in his pocket every day.
That's why I give that
I get
percentage
less
in
than
there.
$500 a month. I'm 50% disabled.
See, now that's ridiculous, and that
And I've
falls.
been fighting since 1979 to get that.
Yeah,
And I didn't get it until 3 years ago.
Wow.
Up till then, I lived on $89 a month.
that's crazy.
That's why you
crazy.
see all these jobs. I tried everything.
Mhm.
Ran for politics last time and won.
You what?
Because
Over
there
the,
needs to be some change.
Water
Soul and water.
soul and water. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I'm running this time too.
Oh, you were on Don's show last night, wasn't you?
That's right.
Yep.
But I saw you on TV,
Got no better sense than to get on Don's show.
and, and I didn't know if
That
y'all
was-
even let me in to talk, but I wanted to respond to that because not everybody.
Well, I'm glad you did because that
Just
just proves a
asking for a
point. You know.
handout.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that about anything.
It's
when we
tried.
do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
But I want you to know
yeah.
this.
Well, you're not
I haven't
able-bodied,
begged-
are you?
I
Are
haven't-
you able-bodied?
Still
no.
drove over here, but it's about as able as I
But
am.
he's
But
not
listen to what he's about to
able-bodied.
say, though. What?
I have not begged a dime off of nobody. I've never
See?
been on a corner. I've never had a sign saying "Help me, help me, help me." But it could just be
And don't you
that
hope-
some of them fellas need your help.
Yeah.
Because let me remind you that they's over there fighting for you too,
Yeah.
whether you appreciate it or not.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
I
not
appreciate
that we
it.
don't
No, it's
appreciate
not that
them
at all.
fighting. It's that we don't appreciate the fact that the government is using them.
Exactly.
You've never had to beg on the street, and don't you hope it never comes
Yeah,
to
exactly. Yeah.
But I've had to beg.
The guy on
Okay.
CNN.
Well,
have you
see,
seen that
that's what
story
I'm
on
talking
CNN about the guy that lost his whole face?
I don't even have a computer. That's
And,
how poor I am.
okay. Well, anyway, he
And
lost
I
his whole
can't
face and
afford
everything.
cable.
And
That's how poor I am.
lost his fingers, lost his arm, and the government
Thanks,
was
sir.
giving him like $75 a month. Well, he fought and fought and fought just like you did. Finally, they're giving him about $2,200 a month because they finally decided that since he lost half his head, that he's 100% disabled in as far as his head trauma goes.
Oh my
They had him listed as
gosh.
0% disabled.
You
He
only get at
lost
least
half his head.
50%, don't you think?
And you know the home loan
Oh
you were
my
talking about?
That's
I've had my home loan certificate since the day I got out of the military, and I've not been able to use it because I could not keep working 6 months at
Right.
a time just
Right.
to buy me a home.
Right.
And if
You
it
go.
wasn't for my daughter, which I told Don and them the other night, and Richard is all, if it wasn't for her, I'd be sleeping under a bridge.
Yeah.
And you may see me out there with a sign. So not everybody out there, you know, is just out to get your dollar and go down here and burn a joint behind the building somewhere.
Yeah.
There's some legitimate beggars like you were talking about
Me
a while
and
ago.
you.
There's some good people out there in some real bad situations, and not all of us have made it that way. Yeah, if you want to blame it on me, yeah, I volunteered. I volunteered. I was in the Navy 6 months before I was out of high school. I thought it was my duty. I felt like it was my duty to serve this country a little bit in order to be able to say something.
Absolutely.
And not everybody has to think that way. It's America.
Well, what
but
do you
that's
think
way
about
I
the
felt.
fact that you served the country, yet your country did not come back and help you, and that you had to fight so hard for so many years to get what you should basically have gotten in the first place?
It's a shame. It's a crying shame. The halls are full up here.
I know they are.
And some of these
I know
boys
they
you
are.
see sitting around begging is begging because they cannot legally go up yonder and just knock the window out and say, "Give me what's mine." And when you sign up, especially if you volunteer to go defend this country in a time of, I mean, man, I was born in '59. It ain't been nothing but tragedy after tragedy. If you want to just get down to it, Kennedy killed.
Right.
Space shuttles blowing up, everything, and excuses from government officials that
It's
there
been
was
a rough
no
50
adequate answer.
years.
Yeah.
But there's a, you know, and I
Starting most notably with the assassination of John Kennedy.
especially right there.
Right.
And I was like 3.5 years old, you know, when that happened. But I remember them horses going down Pennsylvania Avenue, pulling it. That casket with that poor man's head blowed off in there. He was a World War II hero. Saved his men right there, you know, ship burning, oil all over the place. You know what? He lost one out of his whole crew they couldn't find. He probably still dragging around in front of that destroyer that run over. But sometimes you have to beg. And you know, I think if you are a Christian, you know what Jesus said. You know, you're going to have the poor with you always. He didn't say ignore them. You do what you can. You can't save everybody. But, you know, don't pick on the vets, man. We've got enough problems, you know.
Wasn't the
We've
vet?
got enough problems.
Well, we brought
Well,
them
they
in
got
there.
around to the vets.
We got around to the vets.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
You did
Well,
seem to give them a especially hard time, didn't you?
Well, no, but
Well,
the
that
only
got
thing
me
I was
off the
talking
chair
about
at the
was
house.
You thought
I'm
they had
grabbing my
special
boots.
privileges. That,
the only thing I was trying to get at was that, for example, when they get out there, you know, which was what Ralph was talking about, there should be educated, and this is all talking about the perfect system. They should be educated. They should have had a bank account. They should have had some money saved up because they don't really have to spend anything to live on. And again, this is a perfect system, so they should be. And we wasn't necessarily talking about people that had been to war and were disabled. We were just talking about the people that
I didn't
just.
go to war. I was in the Navy. I got crushed. I got crushed on a ship.
My goodness.
I seen some bullets flying off, but it was just exercises and things like that. It wasn't. And when I got crushed, we were at national emergency. Remember the Iranians? Or Ahmadinejad?
NEC duty.
That was when he was
is-
a terrorist and kidnapped all the people.
Yeah.
You know, there was a bunch of boys died just trying to get them people free.
Yeah.
NEC duty is dangerous.
Yeah,
It's,
sure it is.
Is that
it's
the
risky.
79
Any duty's dangerous.
hostage
Right, any
thing?
duty.
Die in a
under
helicopter
Jimmy
or
Carter?
anything.
Yeah.
Across the
But yeah,
street
that's what we were
dangerous.
referring to. I was
eating
more
like
referring
cookies,
to.
dangerous.
Yeah, I was more referring to the
yeah.
guys that thought
It's like
that
fruitcake, huh?
that just didn't want to be a member of. You know, they just didn't want to work. That's more what I was referring to. Is they're educated, they should have money. Why are they just out there on the street? That's more what I was referring to.
You know, and I went
far
to
as that
college,
goes.
you know, and, you know, who'd want to be me? But guess what happened? 1991, I got frauded. Killed
Yeah.
my college at AB Tech. I was just
Yeah.
trying to get some office work, maybe where I could actually be effective
Right.
to do something
Right.
else. And, you know, I may have Agent Orange. I worked all over the planes that dumped that stuff. But I'm up there trying to file a claim on it. Just keep me alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and that's all the boy down here is begging for $1 down here. You know, that might be life and death.
Well, the
Maybe
problem
he'll
is
go
it's
out and
the
get him
scam
some wine
artists
with
that-
it. Maybe
I
he
had to
won't.
do this week
It's what
alone,
he
that
said
the
to me
same
was,
story.
you know, it's
I
the
finally said,
crackheads
"Get him
and
the
the
story."
scam artists that gave everybody these
They broke
opinions that
down
I
the
have.
gas money.
And it's like he said, you know, it's
Because of the fact
I've
First time I
let
saw
I've
her,
let
it
just
was
like
the
much of
second time I was
society,
like, "Get a new
these
story."
people that are bad, I've let them cause me to have an opinion on everybody that's out there, and that's actually a shame. And so I'm glad you came up here.
Well,
'cause
yeah, don't
it really spreads a light on things
know,
that you know, and I'd be the first to apologize to you if I offend you. I didn't mean to.
you know,
I was just
well, I mean, it
talking
was
in
just
general.
it was a general statement. It came off wrong, and you know, I wanted you to know that not everybody's out there
Well, I'm glad you
begging
came
for
up
your
here.
$1,
Yeah.
but they might need it.
absolutely.
They very well could need it.
Yeah.
I wish
How
we could
can
know.
you tell the difference?
I know.
That's
I
right.
wish we
You
could
can't.
know.
It's like John said. How
You
can you tell the
can't.
difference?
You can.
And it's
you
like
can,
she
you
said.
can
You're
never
able
know
to
the difference, but
you
don't
can't.
let a few spoil it for the
Right.
rest. If you err on the side of good, and what good you can
And that's
do
typically what I do.
for other people.
Right.
Is err on the side of
Instead
good.
of erring, you know, don't withhold what the necessities from people who need it just because some people do abuse it,
Right.
because they really are the minority. Those who abuse
Right.
it are
Right.
they're much
I-
higher profile, but they
They're the minority.
yeah, but
I
you-
don't think they're
you
a
don't know
minority.
the
I think-
numbers
I
are
think
so
the
high, you just don't
truly,
know.
I think the truly in need are the minority,
I think
and I
they
think
are. I
that the
think the truly
scammers are the
need-
majority.
I think the truly
I
in
think
need
they're
are the
just
I
five.
think the they
I
don't
think
do
the
it.
tru-
The
I
ones
th-
that really need it won't beg
Yeah,
for
I
it.
think the
usually.
truly
See me out there
are-
begging nowhere. I'd
Right.
have starved to death
Right.
before I ask you for a
So
penny. But if
therefore,
you
I
know
think
me, I
truly
kind of
needed
expect you to help me
There's
along.
5% or less, and 95% are the scam artists. That's
But
the
I
way
always
think.
do.
That's the way I feel. I'm sorry
Yeah.
if I'm
Because I
wrong.
don't see you begging. I don't
Right.
see him begging.
Right.
Well,
I
you
think
just-
it's
I just-
probably
you
safe
know.
to say, though, that part of the reason that a lot of veterans end up in this sort of position is because men like George W. Bush and people in his positions do not support the troops.
Well,
for
they
all
already
the
impeach
talk.
him. If they already
No.
impeach him, just get him out.
He
of
wants
there.
to use them in reverse psychology.
Right.
Now support your troops, and then of course you know. But if you're against the war, you're not supporting the troops.
Right, that's all he cares about. Is
That's
Well,
an
being against the
illegal
war
it just
To
means
be-
is not
support
being
my
against the troops.
war. That's all
Yeah.
he says.
Being
That's
against
all
the
he's
war
saying.
does not
Not
mean
the
you're
troops.
against the troops. You know, I'm for the troops. I'm just against the war. You know, I just don't feel like we have the need to be over there. We shouldn't even been over there to begin with.
Finish it.
I
But
think
as
we
far as
have the
troops
need
go,
to be in
I'll support the
Afghanistan
troops
because that's
the
where
way
the
they
bad
put me in the
guys
box.
got
Got this on
us.
your
Yeah.
conscience if you're
I mean,
leaving,
if we
it's
fought
your
ourselves a path straight to Osama bin Laden, either killed him or put him in a jail cell and then gone home, fine.
That
That's
would
what
be
we
If we
should
would
have
have,
done.
if we would have put a crack SWAT team of special forces in there to find
Send me.
Osama
You
or a
don't lose
seal
nothing except
or a
half
seal
beat up
or
guy.
whatever,
Yeah.
they could have found him and it would have been done.
Excuse
But
me,
no.
Look at my
where
rusty
is
old
Osama
chain.
Where, you know,
I'd
That's
go
a good
right
point.
now.
He's probably in Texas.
I'd
I'm
go
looking
right
around the pool drinking a
Yeah,
margarita.
He's probably in Texas
We're
over
not a
there.
game.
You know,
That's what I'm talking about on the bush ramps, sitting around the pool drinking a
He's
margarita.
not
He-
up
he
in
probably was on it.
Afghanistan. What do you think Bush made his little 2 or 3 months ago to Saudi?
yeah.
That's to pay him off. He's sitting down there in his cousin's
That-
chic shack.
Yeah, is she Shaq? Anyway, I'm just saying, where's Osama bin Laden?
He's
you know
in,
what?
he's in the, with the Wahhabis over in Saudi Arabia.
That's where he's at with his cousin.
If we can't find and take care of Osama bin Laden, you know what? There's a reason
He's dead
we
in a
can't
rabbit
find and
hole.
take care of.
He's
we
on
don't
the,
want
rabbit
he's
hole.
on
Don't
the
want
Cheney
to.
payroll.
If we could find Saddam
dead.
Hussein as fast as we found him, don't you think we'd have
Yes.
found
Yeah.
Osama bin Laden months ago,
He's
if not
dead.
years ago?
Well,
ago.
either that or they just didn't want to find him.
No, they
Yeah.
don't.
No.
Look, if
Yeah,
they
they don't
really
wanna
want to
find him. I don't
find him,
think
all
he's
they
dead
got to
because his
do
tapes
is
gonna
wait
still
at the
come out with
pharmacy
them on
where
it
he gets his
that are
stuff.
talking about current events.
Isn't he a diabetic that needs insulin?
Supposedly,
no,
he
needs,
should
no,
be dead.
he needs
but-
Dialysis.
dialysis.
yeah, he's on a machine,
Yeah.
but the man's worth $6 or $7 billion.
Yeah, but how
so-
many 7-foot tall Arabians with a
A
dialysis machine?
behind him?
Right.
Wandering the deserts.
I don't think he's in the desert. I think he's sitting down in Texas on Bush's ranch down there. He's probably the one that shot that lawyer when he went hunting with Cheney, and then Cheney had to take the fall for it.
That's too paranoid. Come on. It's funny.
So anyway, I just want you to see what happened. You come in here disagreeing with us, we gonna jump on you now.
I don't care, man. Jump on me.
You got jumped. Didn't you?
Bring it on.
I
There
don't
he
know
is.
if I
Bring
did
it.
or not. I
I
just
No.
think you got jumped.
Well, I hope
You know,
that I was
I got some allies though.
I know Randy is a very compassionate man.
I really am.
I've heard that.
He is a good Christian.
I know.
And,
I
he
help
really
everybody
tries to
can.
live it.
He's
I was
not
just
one of
merely
these people
stating
talking the
the feeling.
talk and not walking the walk.
But I feel
so.
like he's sometimes ill-advised.
I was
really
just
do.
merely
Well,
stating.
he could be
well,
misguided on occasion.
That's what
I wouldn't say misguided. I do a lot of research and stuff.
But ill-advised.
But
sometimes.
well, saying I'm ill-advised is suggesting that I listen to rhetoric, and I don't. I do a
No,
lot of.
that's right,
I
he
do a
doesn't.
lot of my own research and stuff, and
Right,
yes, I
know,
did,
and
and yes,
that's-
and yes,
and
I
that's
did.
your saving grace.
And
right
I
there.
will say that yes, I did. I based my opinion on beggars, based on the people that are crackheads, just but like 95% of the rest of
Well,
America.
we all make surface
Uh,
See,
decisions
the
on
fact is
occasion.
Yeah.
though that this fine
But-
man here,
but
and
this
he is
fine
a
man
fine
here,
man.
exactly.
We're still here.
But he's the first to tell you that he's not out begging too. So
And he doesn't have that high profile, so you've not encountered him.
exactly.
And what you don't
so
know is
that's
how
why I
many
say the
of
numbers
him,
are lower.
how many of him there are.
That's
out
why
there,
I'm saying
ones
the
you run
numbers are
across.
lower. That's why I'm saying only about 5% are the people that are in the catch-22 situations, and 95 are the crackhead people that are scamming.
No, I think it's
I'm
the
sure it's.
opposite.
I'm
Well, I was
willing
in
to
the
bet
catch
it's more than
44
5%.
situation.
Well, let's
It went
say 10
plumb
and
around in
90.
circles on me. you
Let's,
know.
let's say 10 and 90, but I bet it's not like he said. I bet that the people that's in that situation are not minorities. I bet they're the majority. And-
Well, I'm with you
It's all
on the
speculation.
on the ratio. I'm with Randy
We
on the
don't really
ratio.
know.
yeah,
Okay.
we don't really know. We don't know. If there's no
No,
way
we
to tell.
don't. There's
We're
no
like the Channel
scientific
6
test,
News.
but
We
it's
can
just
talk
my
about it. We really don't
intuition.
know.
Right, we really don't know. You know,
And we're
it's
off.
just our opinion.
Dun, ba, da, da.
Doesn't mean the conversation has to stop. Yeah, actually,
LSD.
actually, it does have to stop because he has to clean up. But
Please let me get in.
With
All
LSD.
right, well,
let me
it's
get out of your
just
way.
another show.
Thank you so much for coming.
LNB has her own show.
And
And
please
she calls
come
it
back.
the
I
LNB
told you.
show.
I told you. I invited you to tea. I'm glad. No, but I'm so glad you came.
Oh, Ellen,
Is that them?
It's good.
no,
Wasn't it?
LNB is one person. She's the other lady.